So here's the final piece I did for the client. I'll be showing you how I did it. I offered two versions, this one, and then I offered one that was more cropped in. And let's go ahead and look at. All right, so I'll be showing you how I did this. And then I did another one, but it was before he had a full description. He wasn't getting back to me. And I was running out of time for the job, so I just offered this just to give him an idea of where we're going. And he gave me some feedback on what he would like, and he was sorry that he took so long to get back to me. And then I came up with this for the revision. So let's get started. How did I do this? So first off, I start with DAZ Studio. You can also just do a sketch if you want to. And I was running different ideas here, so I was going, because you said maybe either sitting or leaning against a wall, and I was like, well, I wasn't gonna do the sitting thing, but then I realized it's gonna be harder to show that what he wants her doing, and so I was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and have her standing, and I just put that block there so I know that it's on the ground, and I'm thinking I might be able to do it forward. But then it doesn't really look like she's leaning. So I'm going to have to go at an angle, which is what I ended up doing. So I basically come back in here and I render this out, and you put the lighting how you want to. In this case, it should be coming from the left-hand side. But I want to see if this would work first. And it really doesn't, because it doesn't really look like she's leaning from this angle. So I do a slight, an angle version, as you saw in the other one. That's all I do is I just take the same thing and I just turn the camera, and then I render it out again. I change the lighting. All right, and so when I saw that wasn't going to work, I went ahead and made a different locker room. So I went into Invoke AI and I rendered this out. And here's the description if you want to read it. And then I took it into Photoshop and I just selected the lockers because her hair is going to be red, and I thought it would be weird if it would just clash. It wouldn't be as cool looking if her red hair was against red, So I want something that kind of either is analogous to that or is like certainly opposite of it, but right. So I decided to go with something more complementary, which is basically like opposite colors sort of idea, like it's opposite on the color wheel. Basically, if you're using a warm color, use a cooler color. You can do that by either using a desaturated color or by just using a cooler color on the color wheel. I did both. I desaturated it and went with a cooler color, and so kind of a blue color here. I didn't like this box in the front, so I'm just going to take it out. Easy Photoshop skills. And then I'm adjusting her now to be in this area, and then I made the light coming from this direction. Went ahead and rendered her out again. And then we're going to bring her into Photoshop here, just kind of place her. I'm just kind of looking at different ideas. Like originally it almost seemed like he wanted a full body because he wanted the shorts around her ankles, and so that would mean I'd have to show her ankles. But if I do that, then it's a full body shot. Then she's so far away, but he really wants to focus on her face. You can't do both of those things, right? You can't focus on the face and show the full body at the same time, right? That's just not possible, so I need to kind of crop in more. So I'm putting her closer to the camera, which means that she might look bigger in relation to this, but not so much. She is a really tall character, so I want to make sure that I have her being tall. I also want to make sure it looks like she's fitting into the thing. Right, so then I'm going to take it into Invoke AI, and I'm going to try to render it really quick, just to see what happens, because that is two different ways you can do this. You can either just draw on top of the 3D model and then bring that in, but I find sometimes it's better to render it out as nude first and then draw on that, because it'll give you a really good idea of the figure, and then just draw on top of that, and make sure you're in about you're on 1,000 height or 1,000 width. Just make sure at 1024 for one of the things. You don't want to work at super low res at this stage, but you also don't want to work too much bigger at this stage. At this stage, work at 1024. It's perfect for doing all the corrections and paint overs you need to do. Then I'll download this and we'll go in and start painting on it. So just to grab the hand, I'm going to take the 3D model, I put it over it, put a mask on it, and then I paint around it and erase it so that I get her hand back into the composition. I will then paint some of the hand colors back on it. A lot of it's really not going to show up anyway. It's really just going to be this part and this part here. And it actually struggles with doing that, so I end up really just having to paint it and leave it there. So you wanted a light green, so I'm putting the light green bra on her. And you don't have to spend a lot of time detailing everything. Now, you want to put some shorthand details, though, because if you don't put any sort of details at all and you tell it lace, it might have a hard time kind of figure out what you want. So you can kind of direct the kind of lace you want by adding just some basic idea But you don't have to spend a whole lot of time doing this. And then same thing with the panties. We can just kind of, just really quick painting like that is enough. So it doesn't take very long to paint in this style. So it's really cool using AI as a helper, right? AI is not just generating image for you. That's not possible, right? There's no way, no matter what kind of prompting I use, there's no way I can get the AI to generate the image like this that I want it to generate without using this technique, right? So it's not AI generation. It's AI assisted. And what that means is that I'm basically doing and figuring out how I want things to be, composition, all that kind of stuff, and what kind of clothes I want, etc. And then I'm having it render it. So I'm doing a basic paint and then having it render it for me. And this is kind of similar to if I was a lead animator. I draw the lead keyframes and I draw them very loosely. Then I hand it off to an assistant illustrator or animator, and they do all the keyframing, right? All the in-between frames that connect the two main frames together. So they're doing all the they're doing all the labor, right? I did the fun stuff. So in this case, I'm doing all the designing and stuff, and then AI is going to basically render this out. So this would be no different than if I had a partner and we're working together, and I'm doing all the main. I'm like the art director, so I'm doing all the main kind of stuff. In this case, I'm more the art director. I'm art director, lead artist. So I'm doing all the main stuff to get the idea that we want and doing all the designing and stuff. But I don't have to make this super detailed because they're going to do all the rendering, right? So you render this out, you make it look like all professional and finished. That's actually the part of painting I find the less enjoyable is the rendering. The most fun part I find is coming up with the idea, have everything laid out, doing a basic speed painting, whatever. To me, that's always the fun part. And then once you have to get to all the details, I find that boring. That's why often I would just do kind of an impressionistic type painting when I do paintings usually. So I'm just kind of give it some pixels to work with there. It doesn't really matter. I just want to kind of have some variation in color and stuff so it knows what color I want. This way you don't have to describe the color. You can literally just tell it this is a hand gripping a crop top, and then it's going to turn it into that for you. And I'm going to do the basic idea of shorts here. So I'm going to have the shorts being stretched around her lower legs. I thought about putting it up higher here, but he wanted around her ankles. But I wanted it in the composition and show it. So he said I also have some artistic freedom here. And so hopefully this will be fine. I didn't like all this junk the AI put on the floor. So I'm just going to get rid of all that by just painting over it really fast. And to add some variation, some color variation, I'm turning on the randomizer. Anyway, I teach how to do all this in my course. It's free. My free how to paint with PaintStorm. So check it out. Free course, the whole thing on Udemy. All right, so you don't need to spend a lot of time making this look perfect, right? And in fact, this was still probably too much. I didn't even have to do the color variation, but I wanted it there so the AI has that to work with, and hopefully it's going to incorporate that into it. And it does, so. All right, so then I take it into Invoke AI again. This is basically Stable Diffusion. I add a thing up here. That way she's going to have frizzy hair because that's what he wants her to have. And the reason why I painted it a lot more oranger this time is because that's one of the things she wanted to change. She's wanted it more like an orangish colored hair. So first, I think I try to just render the whole thing out just to make sure it has the right idea, right? So in this case, I didn't do it step by step or piece by piece. I just rendered the whole entire image out to see if it's kind of going toward the idea that I'm going to want. And it did. It actually handled all this pretty well. And I could have actually probably used this and then did paint over, but I wanted to do it piece by piece. But I like to usually do a render the whole thing first to see if it's good, and then do end painting. So I'm going to step back, and now I'm just going to render her head here, and we're going to add just the ginger wild frizzy hair. That way I get the kind of hairstyle that I'm going for. I'm not really worried about the face at this point. I decided I wanted to add the shadow, so I paint the shadow in myself, and then I just use the renderer to kind of render the shadow. I went ahead and I really needed this kind of eyes here, so I went with this. I didn't want the mouth open, so we're gonna have her biting her bottom lip, which I'm gonna end up having to paint because for whatever reason AI just doesn't understand what you mean by biting the bottom lip. Even if I painted it, I painted biting the bottom lip, and then I asked it to turn it into a biting bottom lip just to see if it would know what it was, and it still didn't know what it was. So, and I tried all different kinds of models, so it just seems that none of them's really been trained on that. So you might be able to make a LoRa or something trained on it, and then it will do a good job. But anyway, so that's something I could do in the future just to save time. And so it's having a hard time with this hand, as I told you. It just doesn't understand what I'm saying. Now, it starts to understand better when I go to high resolution. So sometimes if something's not working right, just wait till you go to higher resolution. I think right now I'm at 2,000 pixels high and wide, 2048. So that's usually good to do details, but sometimes you have to go even higher to your final resolution, which would be like 4,000 wide. And so there I just, say hand gripping crop top, and then boom. Like, look how much time that saves me by just, I paint the general idea and kind of the shape and color I kind of want it to be. Then I just go over it and I say, and I do that at strength 42. I say, hey, make this into a crop top, and then bam, it does it. So, I mean, super good time saver. Even if you don't want to use it for the entire painting, you can use it just for the background, for example, if you don't like doing backgrounds, or there's a certain things that you don't enjoy in the process. Why not use AI to do that part for you, so you don't have to do things you don't enjoy doing? That way you can enjoy your entire work process better. It also saves tons of time. So if you're having trouble with like folding in clothes or something, try just to paint the basic idea and then say it, nice wrinkly pants or something, and then it's going to do all the folds for you. And then you can paint back over that if you want to kind of change it up. And so I'm trying a couple different things for the pants there. All right, so let's kind of speed through the rest of this here. It's pretty much done now. So now it's just doing some fine-tuning stuff. So I go ahead in here and change the eyes. I add glasses on here. And then I just do some Photoshop tricks here. None of this actually ends up working, but it gives me a good idea of kind of how I want the glasses to look. And then I'm going to paint on top of that, which I don't think I show, but I just basically paint on top of another layer because I didn't want the glasses to be black. And I kept making it black because the color there was already kind of dark. So basically I just painted over it with like that with silver, and then I told it glasses, and bam. So now I have more like the glasses I want. Now if you want it to be more gold, I could have painted with the gold color and it would have made it like gold rim. So, and I can also just change that now inside of the paint program, so it's not a big deal. And hold on, did I show how I did the lips yet? I guess it doesn't matter all that much because I'm going to come in here and change a lot of this anyway, which I'll show you. So I put the hand back on there, painting that background because it needs to be the back side of the short, so it needs to be dark. Getting rid of some stuff in the background there, kind of making sure that getting rid of her collar there. And so here is where I start to paint the lip. And so at this point, this is all I do because I know that I'm going to be trying to get it. I'm just doing shorthand painting right now because I'm going to try to get it to use that, but it's not going to work. So we're going to see how that turns out in a second. But then I have this part here where I did the lace of the panties. I'm doing the eyes. I had to go in and paint this myself, but I guess I didn't record that part or something. We'll see. I have to repaint it anyway, so it's not a big deal. Put the glasses on, and then I told you all that. I had the glasses come out. We get the glasses that we want. All right, so then I have this right here. I think I've done the whole entire face over again. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to fix this face. I think this is pretty good. I liked how the freckles came out. I liked how the eyes pretty much are with a slight bit of frustration in her eyebrows there. So I come in here and I just kind of paint in that she's going to be biting on her lip, which is pretty easy. You see I just paint out that bottom part of the lip so it looks like it's being pulled up. And then paint the teeth a little bit more. And then I can show the other teeth, but I'm like, I don't really like that so much. I end up changing that. But that's the base. The base of it is there now. So, and then I'm like, I don't really like the lace. I push this down a little bit using Liquify to make it look like our hand is actually, pushing into the panties there. Then I have a little bit of shadow in here and light here to make it look like her hand is actually occupying that space underneath. And I'm adding different kind of lace here to match the bra more. Then I take part of the bra and I just copy and paste a bunch of times. Then I'm going to go back in and have it render that out. And that's it. I'm done. I go back into AI. I have it render that out right there. Boom. Got some nice looking lace there. And I'm going to go and just paint. I don't show this, but I paint here and here just a little bit by hand. And then rechange that lace so it kind of matches more down there. And then there you have it. So now I have the final piece here. And then I said I make a crop version that was cuts out most of that there and just kind of focuses on this here because all that's not necessary, but I figured just in case they needed a wider image for something, they can have that. So it's kind of more of a background piece. And that's it. So that's how I did this client's work. And here's the final piece cropped in. I thought that was good for the final piece. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see the details. Kept the freckles there and went ahead and painted the lips more like that so you can't see as much of the bottom teeth. Thought that looked cooler. I did paint some freckles here and there. And then there's a little bit of freckles around here, I think. Actually, I think I might took those out. I put some freckles down here. Maybe I can, if they want, I can add more freckles, but I think, I don't know if anyone's going to be seeing the piece that close up anyway. But yeah, so overall, I think it came out great. And it saved me so much time. You know, like, yeah, I can paint this by hand, but it would take so much longer. Just as an example, here's a recent piece I did completely from hand. So I had to first do the sketching, and then I had to go ahead and do some basic inks here. And then I did my final paint rendition over the inks. And so as you can see, but this took me like 10 hours, 11 hours, something like that. It took a long time. So I was like, and honestly, like once I had the main thing built out and I had all the colors and stuff down and all the main shapes were there, but it looked like not this nice, I was like, I think I'm done. That was about 3 or 4 hours in. I'm like, yep, I don't want to work on this no more. I was pretty much tapped out already, but I still had to do it. And I wanted to do it all in one sitting. So I forced myself, I just took a couple breaks and I just kept going at it. And it just started feeling like an actual job. I was no longer having fun. It was just like, oh my gosh, like just rendering this section here took forever. And just like, you know, you can see some of the different brush strokes. And by the way, anyone can test this. It's on my DeviantArt account. So if you just don't believe, if you think I used AI, you can go to this one on my DeviantArt account. I link it to it in the description, and then use it, upload it to Hive. I forget what it's called, Hive something. Anyway, just type in like Hive AI detection or something. Actually, here, let me just give it to you real quick. Better yet, let me just show you. So it's called Hive moderation. By the way, you go to products, you go to AI generation right here, detection. You can also do text as well. And it's called hivemoderation.com. You click on upload. Then I can just click here, click here, click here, click here, click here, and bam. Sometimes it takes a little bit. And as you can see, 0% as it should be because it's zero AI. I didn't use even AI to upscale it or anything. So I just worked on it at a final large image. Sometimes even when I work by hand, I'll work at like 2,000 pixels. So I just really like that. I like how all my brushes and stuff work at 2,000 pixels, and then I'll upscale to 4,000 pixels using AI. And sometimes that'll make this go to like 1.0 or something like that. Sometimes even a little bit more than that because it does slightly change the pixels, but it'll never go above like 6% or something if you do just use AI for upscaling. But anyway, if you don't use any upscaling or anything, you should get 0% like this. And that's it. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a thumbs up and all that kind of stuff if you found this helpful. I appreciate it. It helps the algorithm and all that good stuff. And hey, if you want to help support what I do here, then check out one of my courses. I have an entire course that breaks down this entire process on my website, masterpaintingnow.com, links in the description. I also have a really popular course, my 3D anatomy course, which is super popular, and also along with my original anatomy course. All three of my anatomy courses are popular though. All my courses overall, I have over 101,000 students now new to me. So join them and check out the courses. All right, till next time.